Welcome back to this segment of Spirit at Work with Marianne Boland, our guest. It's good to have you here, Marianne. You've been sharing some great wisdom with us.
Thank you.
Marianne, in an earlier program, I had mentioned that a lot of people are talking about the frightening pace of change in our society. And I know you've moved literally throughout the world and taken on new positions and responsibilities. How have you come to deal with change in your life, and what secret might you pass on to all of us?
Well, I look upon change as excitement. For me, personally, I know that just watching each of my children, I have 7 children, and they're all different personalities, and the effects that change have had on them from making all these moves and going through their decision-making process of education and so forth. There's always changes, and I think to me change is always an opportunity. You don't know what the opportunity is. Now that excites me.
Yeah.
I don't want to walk into things that I already know. I'd like to walk into something I don't know, and I've had so many of these experiences have all turned out so well that I'm not afraid of change. I look forward to it. About 15 years ago, I lost my youngest child in an automobile accident. And about a week after she had passed away, we were going through her clothing and her things in her room. And in a pocket of one of her jackets, we found a piece of paper with her handwriting on it, and just in pencil, and it said, "Nothing is ever final. Every ending is always a new beginning. We are safe. It is only change." And that meant so much to all of us because we are safe. It is only change. Give it a chance. And in her case, with my daughter, Joanne, the fact that she left us a message like this, I don't know why a 23-year-old young woman would write these words, but she did, and we have them. And so that also has helped me to work through changes. And now that I'm older, and my husband, and we're starting to notice the changes that we're making in our lives, but we don't even think about it. You make one change because this isn't, my husband has trouble with his knees or something, and you make another change because it's your diet and you can't do this anymore and so forth. And then all of a sudden you realize you've made a lot of changes and you're leading a whole different life. And that's fine. That's fine. It's okay. And with Joanne and her words, we are safe. It is only change. That's a belief that I have, that death is not the end. And if death is not the end, then ending a job is not the end. And, losing a marriage or losing a spouse is not the end. It's sad. It's difficult, but it's not the end. And you have to look forward to building the future. And that's what I like about working so much, is the opportunity to build something at all times. Even I worked for Father Norm and Larry for about 4 years, and it was exciting to build what you do. And
folks have used other adjectives.
Yes.
I love this.
Well, hey, wanted to ask you too, I pick up, you said your underlying core beliefs, your spirituality, obviously you've touched on that, you believe that life is everlasting. Anything else you'd say about your spirituality, how it's evolved or how it influences your overall perspective on life?
I think when I lived overseas and I learned so much about different cultures, every culture does the same things. Do unto others as you wish others to do unto you. Being grateful and saying thank you. Being civil. These are all things of the spirit. I mean, these are things that come from the heart. Whether you're taught it or not, it's a basic thing. It's all over the world. And you can be kind, and I've been in situations where, you work with some people and you never hear a thank you or a kind word, and then there's an immediate switch and someone else comes in, and you hear down the hall of your office, someone saying, thank you so much for that, and I can feel myself just being uplifted by something as small as that. It's just there. So all the experiences have shown me that all people need to be treated civilly and with kindness and honesty, and they should all have good expectations given by their employers so they know what they need to do and they can be judged for that. But does that answer your question?
I think so.
They speak of perhaps an individual as being a spiritual person. Mm-hmm. In your experience and the exposure you've had to any number of organizations, what would you say about those organizations that are life-giving, that have a certain spirit about them? What are the characteristics of those kinds of places?
Well, there are so many of these organizations, and serving on boards or being a volunteer or whatever, the people who do this work are the ones who push it forward and who make other people have the same feeling. You've got to be a believer in order to sell whatever it is you want done, whether it's a job, whether you're being a database worker or whatever you're doing, or whether you're the leader of an organization, whether it's nonprofit or for-profit. You must have the feeling inside of you that you want to contribute, that you can contribute, that it's not worth complaining if something doesn't work, but let's try something new or different. Have optimism and build. Just continually build for a future, whether it be for your family, for your company, for your neighborhood, or for an organization. And so many organizations just never give up. They always have that underlying hope. One more fundraiser, one more client that we can help. And that's what I like.
Well, hey, it obviously shows you have an enthusiasm and a passion for life, for work, for making a difference. And thank you for coming here and making a difference in this program.
Thanks for
thank you, Marianne.
And we'll be right back with the closing segment with Larry and me.
Hi, I'm Father Norm Douglas.
And I'm Larry Vuillemin. We founded Heart to Heart Communications to strengthen the connections between people's inner spirit, ethical values, and daily work.
Heart to Heart Communications offers values-based leadership development programs that exist to guide and inspire employees.
Consider the idea of a 60 to 90-minute program on renewing the purpose and spirit of your relationships at work. Get in touch with us. We'd be happy to connect with you.
Welcome back to this final segment of Spirit at Work, in which Larry and I share a little bit to reflect on some of what Marianne had to say. I guess right away I think about all the years I've known Marianne, for over 20 now, and she has such a gracious spirit, and that showed here, that she's so animated, she's so vital. I know when I see people like Marianne who've gone through a lot in life, including the loss of a child, that it could be so easy to become negative, to go through life kind of just feeling down. I'm sure she had some tough moments, but it reminded me also not only of spirit, but of resilience, that ability to go through something very difficult and to bounce back, keep going forward, maybe let your spirit come even deeper and let that spirit touch other people's spirit.
And it reminded me somewhat of a lesson I learned many years ago in the recovery from my stroke. Just the people rallied around, many of them older folks. We had a motto: we can be bitter or better. And the message that Marianne communicated to all of us through her own daughter under such tragic circumstances: we are safe it is only change. And that's not to say that change isn't difficult, but when it's all said and done, what anchors us through the change? Where are we anchored? What is our sense of meaning and purpose? Or are we allowing fear to control our life?
Yeah. And I remember, I think we both heard that reflection that faith is the security to be insecure. And I think we see that Marianne has that kind of faith that takes us through some of the anxious moments that maybe all of us need to be mindful of today. This wraps up our segment of Spirit at Work, and we hope you'll join us next time. Have a great week.